What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we've got a fairly basic video, but quite an important video as well. We're going to be taking a deep look at the charge times of the field upgrades, since for some reason in this game they don't give you any indication of the charge rate of these field upgrades in the menus. Typically, while they won't tell you the exact charge times, they'll at least let you know which ones are faster and which ones are medium and which ones are slower, but Black Ops 6 doesn't do this. So I will be sharing all of those charge times, as well as some very unique behavior when it comes to charge times in Black Ops 6 that is very different from how they typically handle field upgrades. And let's actually start it off with that part, the things that are different this time around with Black Ops 6. The first thing that I was really surprised to find with field upgrades in this game is score does not contribute to charging up your field upgrades any faster. Typically in other Call of Duties that have field upgrades, every time you get a kill or play the objective or any kind of score, it will contribute to that field upgrade charge. So the more you're doing in game, the more score you're getting, the faster you're earning your field upgrades. This doesn't happen in Black Ops 6. Additionally, something that's quite different is the game mode that you're playing doesn't seem to have an impact on your charge time of your field upgrade. And again, this is new for Call of Duty. Typically in Call of Duty, the game mode will have a separate multiplier for how fast your field upgrade will charge. And that's not the case in Black Ops 6 either. So it's actually quite basic this time around compared to previous years. There's less to break down, and your charge time is your charge time. There's nothing that really seems to change that charge time aside from the Gearhead perk, which we will look at in a little bit. But before we do that, without further ado, let's have a look at our field upgrade charge times without Gearhead. And as you can see, the fastest charging field upgrades are the Signal Lure and the Morphine Injector at 78 seconds. Then after that, a little bit slower is the Assault Pack, then the Acoustic Amp and Neurogas. Then we have the Trophy System at 107 seconds. The Tactical Insertion is next at 110 seconds. And then for the Spring Mine, Warcry, and Scrambler, all of these take 125 seconds to charge. And then finally, the slowest charging field upgrade in the game at just over 3 minutes is the Sleeper Agent field upgrade. And this is all pretty interesting because these charge times aren't out of the ordinary for Call of Duty, but like I said, score is not contributing to earning these, unlike other Call of Duty games. So in older Call of Duty games, we were earning our field upgrades significantly faster and more effectively compared to what we're seeing in Black Ops 6, where there doesn't seem to be anything you can do to improve these charge times aside from using the Gearhead perk. And let's just dive into that before I want to share all my opinions on how they're handling field upgrades so far this year. When it comes to Gearhead, the first part of this perk is it does reduce our charge times by about 30%, which is definitely a nice improvement. You're going to be earning these more often, but the additional benefit with Gearhead is you can now charge and hold 2 field upgrades. Now it's 2 of the same field upgrades. The only way to get 2 field upgrades is if you use the Prepper Wildcard. And that just works like Field Upgrade Pro in Modern Warfare 2019. If you do select this and you select 2 different field upgrades with different charge times, it's going to take the longer amount of time to charge up. So if I were to select Sleeper Agent and Signal Lure, for instance, on the opposite ends of the spectrum, if I want to use a Signal Lure, I've got to wait for the entire charge time of Sleeper Agent before I can use a Signal Lure. And that's ridiculous because you could have earned that Signal Lure on its own multiple times in the amount of time it'll take you to earn one of them if you're using this wildcard with Sleeper Agent. So if you are going to use this wildcard, I would recommend selecting field upgrades that have at least a very similar charge rate. Otherwise, you're really wasting the effectiveness of that faster charging field upgrade. And there we go. That's pretty much it as far as the data that I wanted to share today when it comes to field upgrades and how quickly they charge. Of course, when it comes to individual field upgrade breakdowns, for many of them, I plan on doing individual videos on those down the road, but in most cases, they really do deserve their own videos. Now, I just wanted to share my final thoughts on field upgrades and how they're handling them this time around with Black Ops 6, and also the fact that they're different from how they normally handle field upgrades. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this. If you are going to have field upgrades in the game, I think one aspect of field upgrades that's important is earning score allows you to earn field upgrades faster and more consistently. And I find it especially strange that if they are going to go this route and make it so score does not contribute to field upgrade charge rate, then they should be fairly significantly cutting down the time it takes to earn these field upgrades. Since like I said, these time values are pretty comparable to previous years where score was also contributing on top of them. Now I suspect when it comes to this decision to not include score in the charge rate for your field upgrades, likely comes down to one of a few different reasons. First off, it could have been an oversight, perhaps it's meant to be working this way, and it's just not currently working properly. Second, perhaps things got a little bit too complicated with the Strategist combat specialty, since that allows you to earn a ton of bonus score, which is designed to be helping you get your score streaks faster. But on top of that, if score was contributing to earning your field upgrades, then Strategist would be even more powerful because you'd be getting your field upgrades significantly faster as well. So perhaps that's something where in order to cut down the effectiveness of Strategists, they had to eliminate that score from the equation when we're talking about field upgrades. Or finally, this may go along with their philosophy of trying to prevent snowballing as much as possible. One thing we know with Treyarch this year, for instance, is they don't want streaks to be able to be looped. So you can't earn multiple sets of streaks in the same life, even though it requires just as much work and effort to earn the first set of streaks as it does the second set of streaks, and having to kill yourself in between those streaks doesn't really make much sense in my eyes. It seems like looping should be totally fine. Stacking is another conversation, but looping should be fine, yet Treyarch has stated they don't want that because they basically don't want snowballing in the game. And I suspect that philosophy is carrying forward to their field upgrades as well, where they don't want players that are capable of earning a lot of score very quickly to be earning their field upgrades significantly sooner and far more often than players that aren't very good at the game and aren't earning very much score. The way they're handling it now levels that playing field so everybody gets those field upgrades at the same time unless you're using the Gearhead perk. And I'm just not a fan of that philosophy at all, especially when you combine it with the matchmaking system that Call of Duty uses. If there were no skill-based matchmaking whatsoever, we had very mixed lobbies, then yeah, I would start to understand keeping some things in check in order to ensure that the really good players don't snowball too heavily against the not-so-good players. But with the matchmaking system we've currently got, the matchmaking is trying to keep things as competitive as possible, it seems, and therefore the gameplay design should also be as competitive as possible, and this means players that are performing well should be able to reap the rewards of that and use that against their opponents that aren't performing as well. This is the type of thing that also really allows good solo players to help carry their teams more effectively. Their team might not be doing super well, but if they can really go off and earn a whole lot of score in a short period of time, they can also be putting far more field upgrades out there to help their team out. They could be throwing trophy systems down or assault packs or doing whatever they want to do with their field upgrades to help make up for the fact that they have to carry their team so heavily. So those are my personal thoughts on field upgrades. I'm not a fan of how they're handling it, where everybody charges them up in the same amount of time. I think score should absolutely contribute to that. And at the very least, if they insist on keeping score out of the equation, I think it would make sense to reduce some of these times on these field upgrades so they can at least be earned a little more consistently throughout a match. Now, of course, those are just my opinions though, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about this whole situation in those comments down below. First off, how are you feeling about the changes they made with Black Ops 6 when it comes to field upgrades, where score doesn't contribute, and also game modes don't matter. It doesn't matter what mode you're playing, it charges in the same time. And second, how are you guys feeling about the general charge times that I shared as well? Do you guys think these are appropriate times for each of the field upgrades, or do you think maybe some of the field upgrades deserve a faster or slower charge time? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.